We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this by chance, number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is that not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America. Systemic racism that has plagued our nation for far, far too long. I said that over the course of the past year that the blinders have been taken off the nation, the American people. But what many Americans didn't see or had simply refused to see couldn't be ignored any longer. Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds that took George Floyd's life opened the eyes of millions of Americans and millions of people around all over the world. It was the knee on the neck of justice, and it wouldn't be forgotten. It's not white Americans' fault, but just a fact.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the Mountain. Good evening in the Central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparationist Perspective, bringing you those Adocs hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. And today, family, I thought I was going to have the illustrious William Dickens in the building, but he had to work. Hence why I'm late. I lost track of time working. So, family, I thank you so much for bearing with me, for hanging in there an additional 30 minutes while I prepare to come to you live. I want to talk to you today about the lies the government is telling as if Adocs, Black American descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, Badocs, freedmen, ADOS, B1, FBA. They're painting this narrative, you see. They're painting a narrative that Adocs simply do not want to work. And I'm here to dispel those myths because somebody has to. Somebody has got to quantify with our family as to what is happening to us economically so that we can play chess with our vote instead of checkers. We continue to deliver the Democrats the White House. They tell us, you had our backs, we're going to have your backs. And all we've gotten in 9 months is more of the same oppression by the Biden administration. They gave us in 9 months a national holiday for our emancipation, Juneteenth, which we were celebrating. We didn't need their permission. We didn't need them to make it a national holiday. But this is what they do, right? On every level of government, they always give us these symbolic gestures, like they'll name a street after a civil rights leader, or they'll give you a Juneteenth. Now they're giving us a hip hop holiday month. I don't think we can take the month off, but we got a hip hop holiday in August, while giving away our reparations to all the immigrants and white folks and oligarchs who aren't hurt or harmed by any of it, right? If you have killed us and stolen all of our wealth, you get to say and do and have and be whatever you choose. You've got generational inheritable wealth that was ours from our ancestors' heinous chattel slave labor. So you get to decide with the flick of your wand who you're going to give money to for your own agenda. And that is exactly what is happening during this pandemic. Okay? They are angry with us because we won't go and take a big pharma funded, FDA approved in 9 months jab. Because why? We overstand medical apartheid. We've been the victims of medical bias and medical apartheid since they drug us over here in chains. It was our women that the whole gynecological industry was built on in a very heinous way. It was our men who were injected with syphilis and not giving any treatments for the cure. And I could go on and on and on about what happened to our ancestors and why we need to be on our square and be on code, because all distractions are equal. And us running around concerning ourselves, as heinous as it is. But why are we pretending like we just learned the country was racist? It appears to me the immigrants, the Black immigrants in particular, are getting their niggerati wake-up call. They're the ones that's getting that. But Adocs, FBA, B1, FBA, we know what time it is. We've been enduring this for over 400 years. And so I'm here today to talk with you about how we're about to be crushed and wiped completely off the monopoly board by this administration that 87% of our electorate, including Black immigrants, voted to put in the White House. So it's not just the Haitians that are in a pressure cooker, that are being whipped by what looks like slave patrol down there in Del Rio, whipping on the Haitians to drive them, I guess, to the plains to deport them. And the hypocrisy of it all, as they allow Mexican illegals and Afghani refugees to flood the country in the hundreds of thousands, okay, many of whom have tested positive for COVID. They're not mandating vaccines for them. But now, all of a sudden, when it comes to the Haitians, we're concerned about the spread of COVID. We're concerned about the crime. You're letting the cartel in, and you're bringing in the Taliban as part of the refugees. Those were predominantly Afghan men on those planes, not the women. Peep game, family. Stay woke. So anywho, it's not just them undergoing a genocide. Both wings of this bird love to create the problems and use us, Adocs and allies, to just give them the White House. In other words, we're really voting for our own genocide. And so I'm here today to present some data to you. Unlike yesterday, my screen saved everything. I've got everything nicely laid out. So I'm just going to go through each of the articles. I'm not going to read the articles. I'm going to comment on them and give you a big picture to sound the alarm that you don't need to be distracted by all of the racism that is not new to us. You need to be on your square because your children and your grandchildren, your very lineage, depends on you getting in the right fight, because none of them give a damn that we are on the bottom in every metric. They don't care about you. They don't care about over 2 million black men in prison, many of whom are there for nonviolent offenses. They don't give a damn. We're the only ones really fighting for black life to matter. So I'm going to need y'all to stop emoting, because that's what we're good at. Me too. But ever since I learned how we are on an economic Titanic as they try to weaponize immigration against us to not only keep us on the bottom as the anchor of the country's capitalism, but now they're coming for the vote. And they've just about, they've got enough immigrants that they flood the country with to do it. So we need to stay focused. So with that being said, let me just scroll through up here and just go through these things one by one. So in New Jersey, the undocumented workers are demanding Murphy lawmakers grant them pandemic relief. Now, you do know in New York, they gave these illegals $15,000 each, right? We're sitting up here. We don't have the complexion for the protection for hire. It doesn't matter how many degrees we have. There's quite a few of us with master's degrees driving for Uber and Lyft and delivering groceries because no one is hiring us. Well, why is that? Jumping a little bit ahead to another article. We've got about 5 black CEOs in corporate throughout the nation. But there are 56 immigrant CEOs throughout the nation. Of those 5, I don't know if they're Adocs. In other words, we have no social capital at the hiring tables. While these illegals get the come up, $15,000 each. And so our numbers were dreadful before the pandemic in terms of unemployment and the highest rates in the country. They've only gotten significantly worse since the COVID. And so all of these stellar numbers, they're boasting about how much far improved the job market is. That does not include Adocs. While illegals get thousands of dollars, it doesn't include us. And so the Biden administration decides, and the states, some of them sooner than the federal, to stop unemployment and to lift the ban on eviction moratoriums. As illegals, I'm not calling them undocumented workers. They are illegal. And they are in this country getting set up lovely with thousands of dollars, and all they have to do is make a fuss and a protest, and they'll get thousands more funneled their way. And so these undocumented workers know that the Democrats want their vote. You see, many of these illegals identify as white once they make around $50,000 a year. Okay, you can see them out at the Home Depots until they get documentation. But this is something that the Biden administration is hell-bent on doing because they want to beat the Republicans. And they know they cannot without the immigrant vote. Why is that? Because Adocs, FBAB1, Freedmen, Badocs have awakened. And we are fighting in new black media to get the word out about the sleight of hand of this government that we continue to deliver without demanding tangibles in exchange. And so now 87% of our electorate sees everybody else getting everything else. And this is the final frontier for the Democrats' 100-year plan to replace our vote as they have replaced us in the workforce. Despite June's positive job numbers, black workers continue to face high unemployment. Article from Friday, July 2nd, 2021, from the Brookings.edu, if you want to look it up. Welcome to the live. I'm over here trying to have a much more fluid show than I did yesterday when I was scrambling to find my slides. So I'll be over to check on you guys momentarily as I finish my commentary. Okay, so the Bureau of Labor Statistics jobs report for June released today showed a continuation of the steady economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Nationally, 850,000 jobs were added last month, while the unemployment rate ticked up slightly to 5.9% after falling from 6.1% in April to 5.8% in May. This recovery, however, continues to be uneven across racial lines. Black workers had June's highest unemployment rate at 9.2%. So in June, those are the only numbers I'll read. The entire U.S. had a 5.9% unemployment rate. White folks, 5.2%. Asian Americans, 5.8%. Latina or Hispanic, 7.4%. Blacks had a whopping 9.2%, down from 9.7% in April. Okay? So, like I said prior, this is institutional systemic racism. This is a result of the Biden administration and the government at large on every level deciding to employ immigrants over Adocs. That's why you ain't got no time to be crying about what's happening to the Haitians, because they've not shed a tear for you. We're going to get to it momentarily about how different our national median incomes are. Okay? We got about 2.1 million Africans in this country and about 1,084,000 Haitians. I've not done the overall numbers of the Caribbean. Maybe I'll Google that one. They are doing far better than us. You ain't got no time to be sitting up here pining over what is happening to them. You give them the same woo, woo, woo that they give to Adocs. But your people need you. And what is happening to us right now is because we've allowed these distractions. We've allowed ourselves to get emotional over what's happening to everybody else, acting as if their blues can compare to ours. And that's how we've become the anchor of this country's capitalism. I know that's harsh, but it's absolutely the TR Ruth, and that's what you're here for. Next slide. African Americans with college degrees are twice as likely to be unemployed as other graduates. Now, when we look at the number of blacks that are educated in this country, because they have flattened blackness to mask how they're failing the American descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. I don't know at these HBCUs what percentage is Adocs. I don't have a clue. You can't Google the information. I don't know of all these African Americans with degrees, which of those are immigrants, first generation immigrants. We've been here since, before the country was formed, forming the country for free under the most brutal, heinous chattel slave labor known to the born world. So when they say African Americans with college degrees are twice as likely to be unemployed as other graduates, well, that may be true. A new study finds that 12.4% of black college graduates were unemployed. These are the ones that are doing the gig jobs. So this may be true, but not true for all. You see, this is when you need to unflatten blackness so you can see how poorly our people are doing. So, what is the median national income for Nigerian immigrants in the U.S.? Now, I couldn't find 2021 on everybody, so just to be fair, I'm going to give you 2018. So when they talk about African Americans being twice as likely to be unemployed, let's talk about the median national income for immigrants as compared to Adocs. In 2018, Nigerian Americans had a median household income of $68,658, higher than $61,937 for all overall U.S. households. While y'all crying for immigrants. Let's look next at the median national income for the Haitian immigrants, whom we are more educated than. Haitian immigrant households had a median income of $53,800 in 2018, compared to $59,800 for foreign-born households and $49,400 for Caribbean households. $53,800. Keep that number. Now, what was the median national income for the Black American descendant of U.S. chattel slavery in 2018? In 2018, their median household income, the level at which half of households have higher incomes and half lower, they got to throw that in, reached a whopping $41,511. While that level only slightly exceeded that and was statistically unchanged from 2017, it continued to top. They went all the way back to 2007 pre-recession peak for Black median household income for a whopping, drumroll, $41,134. We increased about $424 between 2007 and 2018. You want to know what it is now since the pandemic? A whopping $30,134 for the Black American descendant of U.S. chattel slavery. But y'all want to get distracted and go crying about the Haitians who are trying to get in here to become your new white oppressors. Do you see any of these groups fighting to trade places with you? We are bottom in every metric, but you got time to cry about the Haitians at the border who don't give a damn about you. They don't seem to give a damn about their own. There's a million out here. I ain't heard from none of them. I see us, Adocs, talking more about what's happening to them at the border than I do see their own. So let me go back. This is what is happening to our people, and 87% of y'all, not me, voted for this. You voted for the genocide of your own people, concerned with all these distractions and not getting in this fight for reparations in the trillions over multi-generations. There's a handful of us doing the heavy lifting. That's not going to get it done. This will not get done until we reach critical mass. You're talking our college degreed are twice as likely to be unemployed as compared to other graduates, and our ancestors build the wealth all of these Mickey Thickies eat from. Next, you can still count the number of Black CEOs on one hand. This is NPR, May 27 this year. When protests erupted after George Floyd's murder, Darren Walker, president of the Ford Foundation, a philanthropy focused on social justice and inequality, says he fielded phone calls from more than a dozen chief executives who were disturbed and deeply concerned. There was a lack of diversity among upper management. And on the boards of directors, and many of these CEOs did not know how to respond. Quote, there was not both lived experience and expert knowledge to advise and provide counsel and wisdom to CEOs and the boards, Walker recalls. 1 year later, there continues to be a glaring lack of representation in corporate America. According to Equilar, a clearinghouse for corporate leadership data, 29.6% of companies on the S&P 500 do not have at least one Black board member. Today, there are 5 Black CEOs in the Fortune 500. When Ken Frazier retires from Merck next month, there will be 4. That was May. So by June, we were down to 4. And like I said, I don't know if they're Adocs. At the rate we're going, probably not. Next, African Americans face systemic obstacles to getting jobs, to getting good jobs even. So you can't educate your way out of a gross over $100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap. All you get is a bunch of debt. Y'all better teach your kids to be entrepreneurs, or else they're not going to win. They'll just be saddled with educational student loan debt, and they won't be able to find jobs nor income commensurate with their education. This is from Center for American Progress, December 5th, 2019. It's gotten worse now. The U.S. labor market, I'm not reading the whole thing, just a couple spots. The U.S. labor market has now seen a record 109 months of uninterrupted job growth, with the overall unemployment rate falling to its lowest level in 50 years. However, African-American workers still face more hurdles to get a job, never mind a good one, than their white counterparts. They continue to face systemically higher unemployment rates, fewer job opportunities, lower pay, poorer benefits, and greater job instability. These persistent differences reflect systematic barriers to quality jobs, such as outright discrimination against African-American workers, as well as occupational segregation, whereby Adocs workers often end up in lower paid jobs than whites, and immigrants, I just read you the data, and segmented labor markets in which Adocs workers are less likely than white workers to get hired into stable, well-paying jobs. Despite Adocs workers having increased access to jobs and actually getting more jobs, labor market outcomes, including higher unemployment and fewer good jobs, continue to be worse for Adocs workers and their families. But your immigrants have become our new white oppressors. You see, the Haitians don't have enough hate and vitriol for Adocs the way the other groups do. They mark off white on the census to be able to come into your communities, take our jobs across industries, build their businesses, and gentrify us out of existence. That's what's happening as too many Negroes are sitting up here crying for the immigrants who don't give a damn about you. We got a CBC. I'll cover that tomorrow. I may try to touch on it a little bit today. I'm at 6:03. Okay, I got a little time. Trying to do this in an hour is tough, but we're going to move on. Anywho, you got a CBC that's mostly working for immigrants now. While not doing a damn thing, we have no advocates, we have no friends. It is on us at the grassroots to turn this Titanic around for our children. Back to the text. These differences are not new, and the longest labor market expansion on record has not eliminated them. Adocs have always been more vulnerable in the labor market, as these immigrants and white folks alike want to continue the white supremacist racist tropes that we're lazy, shiftless, no good, no count, just want to sex and drug and thug and bang. When the government has created these conditions to keep us tethered to the bottom, as the bottom caste of their capitalism with 3 Ks, in the country with 3 Ks that our ancestors built with their lives. I have to take a sip. They regularly experience higher unemployment rates and work in worse jobs, which feature lower pay and fewer benefits than whites. Moreover, they tend to work in jobs that are less stable than those held by white workers. For example, Adocs workers often see their unemployment rates go up sooner than white workers when the economy sours, and their unemployment rates also take longer to decline when the economy improves than is the case for whites and immigrants. A phenomenon often described as last hired, first fired. Moreover, unemployed Adocs workers look longer to find and secure a new job than do white workers, me speaking. That's including our degreed. I told you on yesterday's broadcast, we're not in competition with the orange grove pickers, okay? They are bringing illegals over, educating them, grooming them for government and for corporate and for government jobs and for politics. In Boston, there were 3 black candidates running for mayor, one that had been acting mayor. Couldn't get the black vote because blacks didn't show up to vote. So now they're down to a Muslim woman and an Asian woman to be mayor over Boston. Asians are about 9% of the population in Boston. Adocs is 25%. And there is no policy in their agendas that's inclusive of us. It's all about them. I think the Color of Wealth report for Boston, if my memory serves me, we were like $8 liquid there, 11 in Florida, 200 in LA. That was from 2004 to 2014. And of those blacks, the 25%, the black immigrants are faring significantly better. If my memory serves me, they had 12,000 in liquid assets. We had 700. The Caribbeans. The ones who weaponize their accents and where they're from to beat Adocs out of jobs. The labor market experience for African Americans has historically been worse than that for whites, and this continues to this day. I'm done with that article. Let me move on because I'm running out of time. Now, immigrants, I flashed this at the top of the show. They are the new American workforce. I've done the shows about the New Deal. That has nothing to do with Adocs. It excludes Adocs. It is these new American deals. These offices are opening up all through the country to raise up the immigrants over Adocs, whose ancestors built all the wealth. Not half the wealth, all is all. This is June 5th, 2018. Immigrants today play a crucial role in the U.S. workforce. Although 17% of the overall workforce is foreign-born, certain industries are much more dependent on immigrants. Nearly 1/4 of workers in the construction industry are immigrants, for example. About 1/3 of immigrant workers do not have authorization to work legally in the U.S., and these immigrants are also vital to the American economy. As it grows, the number of jobs will expand at all skill levels. But the CBC is doing the work of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Immigration policy should facilitate finding workers willing and able to fill jobs requiring lower skill levels, not make it harder. As important as immigrants are to today's U.S. workforce, they will be more vital in the future. Between now and 2035, all growth in the U.S. workforce will be entirely due to the immigrants and their children. But y'all refuse to vote Trump at the top of the ticket in a blue Congress the way I instructed. Looked at me like I'm crazy. And ran out and delivered this nonsense. I told y'all if we don't play chess with our votes instead of these blue chip checkers, we will be as few in number as the Indians. That's what they're working on. And their 100-year plan is just about complete. When we delivered Teddy Roosevelt the vote as Republicans, he turned around and dishonorably discharged 167 Buffalo soldiers who were wrongfully accused of murdering a second white man after being quarantined in their barracks for being wrongfully accused of murdering the first. Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinian Church, said, "You shot us when our guns were empty, and for that we're going to return the same by delivering a blue top of the ticket and a red Congress to protect the Black South." I am imploring upon you, as I read to you our peril if you don't, to vote red top of the ticket and a blue Congress to protect damn near 90% of Adocs who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism until they cut the checks in the trillions over multi-generations. If it's buffering over there, I can't see it. I know that ScrewTube and Racebook are censoring me up the wazoo. They're not getting out my notifications. You need to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm trying to get things set up to only be here live and get my stuff off these platforms. It looks like I may have to move it to Patreon. I've got a website, but unless I can figure out how to get my videos uploaded that are in excess of an hour, I may have to go the route of Patreon. I wanted to become my own Patreon at thereperspect.com. So they will stop with this censored BS. They don't want you to know this information. But if you don't know it, we are going to perish. And we're already too late. We got maybe one more election cycle to effectively vote red top of the ticket in a blue Congress. Now, don't sit here and tell me not to show up. With the white Dixiecrats and the Republicans alike. They're all Dixiecrats. They just split because the Republicans wanted slavery. Seeking to suppress your vote through gerrymandering. Why would you suppress your own vote? Play chess with your vote. Weaponize your vote. That's all you've got, because we don't have the money that these other groups are being given in the form of our reparations. They made sure that we could not pay for our politics. And the top 10% that are sharing 2.3 trillion, while the rest of us share less than 700 billion. That's 90% of Adocs. Don't give a damn. They are your black-white oppressors, your black-white supremacists. So we don't have enough people in the trenches being groomed to take over the entire CBC with grassroots. And these white folks and immigrants outnumber us now. We're like damn near fourth. Hispanics are bigger in population than we are. So we're losing power every time you guys deliver this trifecta of either party is the death knell for Adocs. Immigration policy should facilitate finding workers willing and able to fill jobs requiring lower skill levels, not make it harder. I did that part. I'm done. That makes me sick. Let me keep going. So the police departments are hiring the immigrants as the officers. Like I said, most of these immigrants, once they make 50,000, they start to identify as white folks, if not sooner. So these are your Two Towels and that whole lot that was with Chauvin. With their knees pressed in Mr. George Floyd's neck until he expired. They're hiring the immigrants who identify as white because the only whiteness Biden is allowing into this country are the ones that are just like him. Haters of black folks. Hate. I mean, a venomous hate. You have to hate us, and you have to be willing to execute us by state sanction. Or you have to be willing to be deputized to execute us. Those are the only buffer class immigrants allowed into the country. So in an era of Mr. George Floyd and defund the police, Biden is sending $1 bazillion to the police. And now the immigrants are getting in on the act for that shmoney. Our reparations being used to execute us in our own communities after institutional systemic racism has rendered us homeless, educationless, jobless, businessless. Law enforcement agencies struggling to fill their ranks or connect with their increasingly diverse populations are turning to immigrants to fill the gap. Enough of that. So, sanctuary cities, giving refuge and monies, and all the things that we are owed in reparations to the immigrants and the refugees. Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake City, Denver, San Francisco, LA, Phoenix, San Diego, Dallas, Austin, Houston, Miami, DC, Baltimore, New York, Detroit, Chicago, and Minneapolis. To guarantee we become extinct. They're not concerned about the refugees or the Latinas or the Mexicans, whether they've taken the jab. They don't have jab mandates. They're not testing them for COVID. They're not testing who's a part of the cartel. They don't give a damn if the refugees are a part of the Taliban. They're in bed with the Taliban. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Left all of that military equipment over there for them to continue to terrorize the people, along with about 100 Americans that can't get out, while Jim Crow Joe and Kabami luxuriate wherever the hell they are. Biden signs immigration orders as Congress awaits more. The White House has moved fast to undo many divisive Trump policies on immigration, asylum system. Now we've got thousands flooding the borders, including about 14,000 Haitians that are being kicked out. Think they're going to maybe keep 1,000 of them. I don't know. And here's the CDC, immigration reform. Let me do that story another day. I'm probably going to do that one tomorrow. I'm going to think about it. I think I'm supposed to be, we'll see. Racial wealth snapshot, immigration and the racial wealth divide. So here, let's talk about this one. This is a good one. Let me blow it up. Lord, where's my plus? Welcome to the live. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and support. My Cash App and my PayPal are scrolling in the bar below. I appreciate all of your contributions towards me educating the masses and advocating for our people. Okay, so South and East Asia's South and East Asia median income is $78,000. Europe and Canada, $65,000. South Americans, wait, hold on, guys. Okay, it looks like these are their median incomes here in this country. So foreign-born households have a median income around 53.2K. And native-born households have a median income of 58K. And I told you Adocs median income was 41K in 2018. But when you break it down, the South and East Asians has a median household income of 78,000. Europeans and Canadians in the U.S. have a 65K median income. If you're South American, your median income is around, God, this is hard to read. Hold on, family. It's so small, probably by design. If you're South American, your median income is 56,000, Middle Eastern 53,000, Sub-Saharan Africa 52,000, Caribbean 44,000, Central American 43,000, and Mexican 41,500. These are for the immigrants, and this was when? This is not accurate because I just showed you. Oh, this is 2020, so I guess it's gone down. Woo, woo, woo. Ours is 30,000 then. If this is 2020, we're at 30. The Mexicans are at 41 and a half. Central Americans are at 43. Caribbean at 44. And so on and so forth. 52. 53, 56, 65, 78. Kamala's people. Moving on. And so, as if our unemployment numbers weren't already abysmal, Black people with low vaccination rates stand to be shut out disproportionately by the mandates. Well, I kind of touched on that already to remind you of the Tuskegee experiment when they injected us with syphilis and would not give us a cure. And medical biases at large, and the gynecological whole entire profession being built on the heinous mistreatment of our ancestors during chattel slavery. So now, because we won't line up for a jab, oh, by the way, that has breakthrough infections, they're mandating that we take a vaccine, they're mandating that we take it. Folks are still getting breakouts, breakthroughs, whatever the hell, Delta, Lambda, Gu, Mu, Zwa, Twa, you know. All this is still going on with the Pfizer. The World Health Organization and the FDA had to stop them on their, race to get boosters. The majority of the people in Israel have got the jab and are experiencing the highest numbers of hospitalizations. And Jim Crow Joe issues mandates, and lots of Adocs are constantly on me about getting the jab, jabbing my child. Now they're going to allow jabs for the 5 to 11 years old, as if our unemployment numbers weren't bad enough. We're going to be shut out even more. This is the genocide of Adocs, family. I'm going to deal with this in a separate show because it's a lot to expound on. I'm trying to close some of these windows. So back to the Nigerian Americans. They were at around 68,658 in 2018. To Haitians in 2018, 53.8. To American descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, median national income of $41,511. Now, the median home price today is $379,000, and our median national income is $30,134. If y'all don't get in this fight, in 2019, the Hispanic population was 60.48 million. To our what? 40 million, 41? That includes Black immigrants who pretty much run the CBC. Okay, that's my show, family. Let me see what y'all got to say about it. Welcome to the live. Let's see. Joanne Lewis, Africans are now employed as prison guards over Adocs, who are the most incarcerated in this nation. Absolutely. Queen Majesty. Hey, Angela at Real Talk from Mexico in the house. What's up, family? So good to see you, my love. Okay, so Queen Majesty, the Mexicans need to switch cities, not countries. The Haitians need to stay in Mexico. What's up, Robin Felix? I see you, family. What's up, Trey? I see you, fam. Indians, Kamala's people got the tech jobs. Joanne Lewis, thank you for joining the live, my love. She says Kamala's people got the tech jobs due to the bill she drafted and got approved. Please, please, please consider Patreon. You are hot. Thank you, my love. Thank you so much for your kind words. We have been once again betrayed by our own government. Oh, AWS 21st says. All right, family. It looks like those are all the chats. Listen here. I will be going to a platform, more than likely Patreon, because like I said, I've got to get this word out. And you guys have got to help me spread it. How did the Haitians get to Mexico? Queen Majesty, if you could answer that for Trey Lincoln in the chat while I close us out. Family, we are at George Floyd, 9 minutes, 29 seconds to the neck. Literally and figuratively. Okay? It's time for us to put up the gate. It's time for us to not give a damn what names they call us because we put up the gate. We have got to take care of us because nobody in this country is. We've got to stop this delivering of a trifecta. Okay? Queen Majesty says through Guatemala, El Salvador, at Trey Lincoln, how the Haitians get to Mexico. Queen Majesty is in Mexico. Lots of Adocs are considering Mexico. Okay? Lord have mercy. I guess I could do this from anywhere in the world. My daughter has another year of school, and then I will consider and explore my options. But I'm holding on to my real estate lineage first. I see you. Welcome to the live. Listen, family, y'all got to get in this fight. Let me give you my Gmail. The Rep Perspect at Gmail. If I can plug you in to who's doing the work by you. The Rep Perspect at Gmail. Okay. My website is just about complete. I've got my brand logo now. I've got a few more. I'm going to be doing merchandise. We're going to have the shirts with the fabulous logo. Many of you have seen it in Facebook and have decided that you love it as much as I do. On the back will be I Love You Black and Strong, TRP. On the front, it's going to be my beautiful nails and my beautiful bangles in that power fist, the reparationist perspective. This merchandise is important for a number of reasons. It helps me to continue to afford to bring you these great, engaging and informative broadcasts, along with affording me a chance to really advocate, because my advocacy and the work I do here is a whole nother full-time job. And it's something I really, really, really want to do and need to do like I need to be able to focus. And that's where your support comes in. So there'll be hoodies, long t-shirts, mugs, and satchels to start. It's going to be epic, family. I'm going to be doing branding for the family Power Fist, the brothers Power Fist. Like, it's just going to be rich. And so I can't wait to launch that, because then I can complete the website. You can still go to the website and sign my email list, and that is thereperspect.com. Thereperspect.com. That's my website. I would love it if you sign my email over there, because family, thereperspect.com. Family, when Facebook disabled me after I built to 4,500 subscribers, that was it and that was all. The only people that could find me were the ones that knew how to find me. So the rest of you, unless you come over here and find me on YouTube, it's just I'm rebuilding, okay? So I'm back after a much-needed break, but I will be back with more informative news about the CBC and about, what was the other thing I wanted to do that I touched on just now? Oh, God. And I said OVK and all the things you need to do to build your immune, okay? I'm going to be doing those 2 shows probably in the next couple of days. It'll have to be around my advocacy meetings. So, I will be back. I'm trying to come on here more often. Joanne Lewis, ain't leaving until we get reparations. Then I can live in Mexico, Cuba, Guatemala, Adocs, help build the canal. Baby boo. I hear you, Joanne. I'm with you, sister. We built this. This is more ours than it is anyone's, honey. Our ancestors paid the price. And with that said, family, please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Let me pray our prayer of protection, that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Adocs and its allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until we meet again, you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening. Know that I love you, Black family. I love you so strong. Peace.